Hey, 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 everybody. You know what time it is. It is Warrior Wisdom Wednesday. Listen, I am so excited to be with you all today. This is probably my absolute favorite day of the week. So, excuse me, if you are new to me, my name is Ayana Henderson. I am an emotional wellness coach, and I help Black women accelerate their healing journey so that they can live a life that they are proud of. Like, I am super incredibly proud of the women that I work with and all of the work that they put in, right? And so we help accelerate the healing journey. And what would normally take about maybe 2 years in traditional therapy, we have a proven framework that you can actually heal a lot of the emotional trauma within just 6 months. Crazy, mind blowing, but I've seen it happen. I've done it for myself. You know, they say I'm not also the president, but I'm also a client. Amen, somebody. So, we are kicking off a new part of the Power series. And so, every year, the last 3 months of the year, I focus on the power of your voice, the power of your value, and the power of your vision. And so, we are kicking off November. We just wrapped up the power of your voice, and now we're going into the power of your value starting here in November. And I'm so incredibly excited. So, my goal is always not to be before you long. So we're going to go ahead and get right to it, y'all. So, right, we're talking about the power of your value, right? And today we are focusing on three specific ways that we're going to show and talk about value, right? So the first one is you are value now, like your personhood is value. The second is you are valuable, right? Which is different actually from being value, right? And then the last is you're invaluable. And so we're going to break down these ways, right? So let me just share a quick little story with y'all. Can I lean in a little bit? Is that okay? Just let me know in the chat. That's okay to lean in a little bit. So there was a point in my life where I was working in human resources, and I was in what most would consider a generalist role. My title was HR officer, but the functions were that of a generalist, right? And so with the generalist, you know a little bit of everything, and so you do a little bit of everything. You know, payroll, benefits, employee relations, new hires, open enrollment, onboarding, offboarding, terminations, write ups, all the things, right? When you're in that generalist capacity. And I had just moved out of the city and into the suburbs and wanted to try to find something that was closer to home because the commute could be anywhere from 1 to 3 hours, depending on the season, depending on the traffic, all the things. And I was just at my limit, y'all. I was at my limit. And so I wanted to find something closer to home. And there was a position that was maybe about 15 minutes from where I lived. Applied for the position. The recruiter called me back, said it's no longer available. The person who decided they were going to leave decided they were going to stay. But I have a position for you that I think you would be a great fit. um, we had already done the interview with the recruiter, and so she had called me back to let me know that these were the next steps that the company had decided to do. So she presented me with an HR director position for the city, right, or really for the county. And it was with the DA's office. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to be with people who have all types of degrees. I'm going to be around people who, they're lawyers, they're prosecutors, they have the highest of highest degrees. Why would she think that I would be a good fit for this position? Like it's clearly above my grade level. It's clearly above my education level. It shows on my resume, like I only have an associate's degree. Why would she even consider me for this? And so, as we were talking, she was like, it's more like a generalist role, but this is the title that they give it. So it's just like a higher level of what you do, but you're capable of doing it. And I just doubted it so much. So I shared it with my husband, and he was like, just go for it and see, and just see what happens. Just, enjoy the process and enjoy the journey. And I thought, oh, this is crazy. So I called her back and I said, okay, yeah, I'll apply and we'll see. So she set up my first interview, and she explained kind of the people that I would be meeting with. And so I had set up, it was about a week or two out. And so I had thought about how can I really showcase my expertise when I'm going to be going up against people who have like 20, 30 years experience, have been doing this for a long time, probably have master's degrees, some probably have PhDs, like they just have way more than I could ever think I could bring to the table. Right. And so I decided that I was going to go in and I was just going to be the best me that I could possibly be, which brings me to the first point. You are valued, right? And so I had to get to a place where I believed that everything that I've done up to that point made me the person who I am. Like whatever it is that she saw in me, I now had to see it in myself because I couldn't. And I was struggling to see it. I couldn't even understand why she would even want to consider me for this type of position. And so what I couldn't see was my inherent value, the value that I was born with. It's the value that nobody can take away, nobody can give you, nobody can alter, adjust, shift, or change. Like it's just your being. It's the you that always shows up regardless of the circumstances and situations, not the you that quickly adapts to, what's going on in the world, or it's not emotionally affected. Like when you meet me, you're always going to get the storyteller. You're always going to get somebody who's going to find humor. You're probably going to get somebody now who's going to, wasn't then, but you're going to get somebody who's going to talk about Jesus, who's going to want to pray, but who's really going to want to genuinely get to know you. And no matter what, that's who I'm going to show up as through and through. But I'm always going to try to find the humor in something, even in grief. Like I found, the humor in that process. And I just thought like, wow, so this is what I present, right? There's a joy that I've been told that I have that it shows through. And so, when I'm not in sync because it's how I show up. And so for you, there are inherent ways, like ways that you were just born with, like this is your personality, this is how you show up, that offer a considerable amount of value to others. Like you are value. Like when I show up, like I watch my kids' face light up. I watch my husband's face light up. When my mother and father were alive, I watched their face light up just at the mere presence that I was walking in the room. And it's not like, it wasn't this, I'm not sharing it as a like, oh, she's so dope. It was just like, this is the value. Like I am value. Right? So go ahead and drop that in the chat for me, right? I am value because you are value. You serve a purpose. Just how you were born. You don't have to do anything different. You don't have to become anybody different. You don't have to change who you are. You don't have to adjust who you are. Right in your personhood is value. Right. So I had to first see that in myself when I was going for interview number 1. There was a series of 3. So I go in and I, share my journey. I share my story. I share my nerdism, what makes me a great HR professional, which was really bringing my value to the table and leaving it there and letting them decide, is she worthy enough to go on to a second round? And I left that shaking in my boots. I was like, I'm probably not going to get a call back. They're seeing so many people. Again, listen to how the self-doubt is coming in. Right. And so they're probably going to call all these other people. I'm not really qualified, but I gave it my best shot. So this brings me to point number 2. You are valuable, right? This is how other people assess what you bring to the table. So the first part, you are value, is about what you see you bring to the table. This second part is about what others see you bring to the table, and they want more of it, right? So one of the things is being valuable creates some type of material gain, right? And so there's a difference between being value, noun, and valuable, right? What you offer, what you present, what you bring to the table. And so the second interview, I ended up getting a call back. And she said, they were really impressed. They really loved what you had to say, how you presented yourself. They were intrigued. Like you really brought, your A game. So she was proud and she was kind of coaching me for the next one. And this is what you can expect and who you're going to meet with. So you want to, kind of show up a little bit more now because you're meeting with people who are higher in the organization. So I said, okay. At this point, I now share with my current boss, like, hey, I'm going for this job and I'm a little nervous because it's a high, this job is now twice my salary, my current salary. It's 10 minutes away from my house. and would have all the kinds of flexibility, right, to really establish myself as a thought leader in the HR community. And so my boss starts coaching me. She's like, I knew this was coming. You moved out to the suburbs. I've been in HR a long time. And so I knew at some point you were going to want something closer to home. It just, it's natural. It makes sense. So she helped me put together a portfolio of my work. And so we pulled out all the things that I had done, all the highlights, all the awards, any of the accolades, all of the trainings that I had done, any forms that I had created. And we put together, just a quick portfolio of work, a body of work over the 5 years that I had worked specifically under, her tutelage. And so we get to the second interview and I bring this portfolio and I say, this is me. This is how I present. This is how I show up. And so as a department that doesn't have, and when I say I did research, I knew about all of the employment issues that they had within the past 5 years, how I could contribute to those and help those not happen again, by showing them my body of work and what I was capable of doing. And so this now for them shows how valuable I am to the organization, because she can bring in this, she can bring in that, she can do this for us, she can do that for us. So she can help us. And she's clearly done her research, because now she's not only speaking to situations that we've had, but she's also now offering solutions on how to prevent this from happening again. Valuable. So if you're tracking the difference between one, being a person who is value, like just my inherent being. Nobody can change it. Nobody can do anything about it. And then what you bring to the table, my skill set, my abilities, my talents, my gifts. I bring my value to the table, making me valuable, making my value valuable to somebody else's eyes, making them desiring it to have that in their life, right? And then the last one is invaluable. You are invaluable, right? And so now we've gone through the second phase. They're completely impressed. I've done my DISC presentation, and now they're looking at themselves like, do I show up this way? Do that? Like now they have buy-in, right? And so now they're thinking about people in their office who show up a certain way, who could benefit from this, how great this would be to implement in their office and have sort of that a stand-in, built-in person that could handle these particular things. And so we get to the last and final interview where now we're meeting the very top ranks. I think it's myself and 3 other candidates that have now made it to this position, to this status. And I present again the things that I bring to the table. And then I take it one step higher and I actually offer the DISC assessment kind of right there on the spot. And so, now I'm really deep diving into it and I'm saying you're showing up this way, this way, this way, this way, and this way. Now I've researched the people that I am going to be interviewing. So now I'm having personal conversations like, oh, I saw that your daughter does soccer. Yeah, my daughter's thinking about this. So now I'm building relationship and I'm building connection. And so when I'm walking out this room, I'm leaving them now with the sense that we can't move forward without her. Invaluable, priceless, right? So what's now the difference between being valuable and being invaluable, right? And so valuable is it means it's worth a lot. It's important, right? So in the second interview, they knew that I was important. They knew that they may want to move me forward, but they weren't, maybe 100% sold. They have a process. Invaluable is priceless and essential. And so what I did was I moved myself along the line from just being like, oh, wow, we're impressed with her. Let's move her forward to, oh, wow, look at how she can help us. And look what she can bring to the table to, oh, my goodness, we absolutely have to have her. So I went from showing my value, just me showing up as me and all my nerdyism. And then I went to show how my nerdyism could actually help them. And they're like, yeah, we need that in our life. Like, can we get you some of us? And then I show them like, oh, now I absolutely can't live without you. Like, because you are essential. We need you here. And so I ended up beating out, I don't know how many candidates, but I know the top two. And they shared this with me. They said, I don't know how you did this. Like, just the way that you showed up. She said, you literally beat out candidates. One had a PhD and one had a master's degree. She said, and they had years of experience. And she's like, I don't know how they did it, but they just could not forget you. They were so entranced by your process. And she said, what did you do? And so, this is the recruiter now. And so I'm showing her my process. And she's like, you poured all of this into just an interview process? I said, yeah, because I felt like I had to show me. I really felt like you need to know this is who you're getting. And it won and it worked, right? Showing up with the value that I was born with, like the unique me, the storyteller, the finding the humor, the common ground. Humor speaks to all people, doesn't matter. People like humor is a universal language. Funny is funny. Cute is cute. And, a story is a story. And I was learning at that point that I could be a storyteller that could pull you into my story and allow you to see yourself within my journey. And that is what I bring to the table, my valuable assets. Right. And then convincing them and showing them that you can't, this is invaluable information. Like, if you don't have this, then what do you have? And so that's why I wanted to share with you as we start to kick off this series. One, remind yourself of the things that you were born with. Like, you couldn't stop doing these things, even if you tried, because they are you. They are uniquely you. Two, right? What are the things that you bring to the table? Like, because it's your sweet spot. Some of these things now may be things that you've suppressed because somebody's made fun of it, because somebody has told you that this isn't the way to go. Those are the things that you got to actually lean into. I was called goody two shoes, teacher's pet, Miss Perfect, overachiever. I was called all those things when I was little. And so I shrunk back and I stopped showing up as who I was just uniquely designed to be. And when I stepped back into that, when I stepped back into it, then people saw that as an asset. Now people come to me to help them flesh out strategy. Now people come to me to help build a worksheet or a template. Now people come to me to make sure that when they're doing their speeches, it makes sense and it flows. Right. So now people are using and trying to leverage all the things about me that make me valuable that I was once teased for, but now are the things I get paid for. So what are the things in you that you keep telling yourself, nobody really wants to see that. Nobody really cares. Eh. Those are the parts of you that we need you to start stepping into and pulling out. And then lastly, what are the things about you that people have said, oh my God, I can't, like, I could never do what you do. Like, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you make this, like, oh, you're a lifesaver. I can't, if it wasn't for you. Those are the things that make you priceless. Those are the things that are essential to you. And we shrink them sometimes. I remember I was trying so hard to get away from creating templates and worksheets for people. And yet that's the very thing that I'm being paid for now, to help build template catalogs and libraries. Because I thought, nobody needs this. And now it's so super essential. We have all these small businesses booming, all these entrepreneurs now, but they don't have, systemized steps to be able to do something. So all the nerdyism, all the ways in that I strategize, all the spreadsheets that I create, they seem mundane to most people, but people actually need them. I'm always going to be an asset. Like, put that in the chat. I'm always going to be an asset. My value will always be an asset. And there was something that my coach said today when we were chatting, and she said, here's the thing. I used to like try to, limit the amount of information that I would give, or I would just show the how, I would show the what, not the how, or I would teach the how, not the why, because I wanted people to pay me for X, Y, and Z. And I'm paraphrasing that part. But the last thing she said is this, and then I learned that my value never runs out. And I thought, oh my God, my value, put that in my value never runs out. Like, because if you're always in a space of growth, if you're always in a space of learning, if you're always in a space of understanding and operating in certain things, your value never runs out. It only increases because you're constantly learning new information, new skills, new abilities, new talents, and then you are, sharpening your gift. I taught this series last year, and the things that I'm saying in this same series this year is not the same things I was saying last year, because there's growth. My value never runs out. So write that and remind yourself of that. My value never runs out. And so that's where I'm going to end it with this particular part of our series, right? This first part, this kickoff. But one of the things I want to also share is that I am kicking off a 4-part masterclass series, not just myself teaching. I'm bringing 4 amazing, incredible women along with me to share what they teach on. We're talking about harmony over havoc, right? Finding harmony in your life. We're talking about bossing up in your boundaries and really standing flat footed on your no, and owning it, right? And then we're also, you always got to bring in confidence, because, sometimes we've experienced some things that cost some doubt. I just shared with you in the beginning of the live how that particular experience showed up for me. And I just doubted it, right? So we are kicking off this series starting next Wednesday, November 9th, and it's going to run for the 4 consecutive Wednesdays. So November 9th, November 16th, November 23rd, and November 30th. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And here's the thing, the beautiful part, it's absolutely free, y'all. It's absolutely free. So you want to head on over to bit.ly/soul care success and make sure you claim your seat. When you register for one, you register for all, and you get the replays of these so that you can have it in your wheelbox, your toolbox, in your wheelhouse. I was trying to say a whole bunch of things right there. But again, register. It's free. It's at bit.ly/soul care success. So this has been another edition of Warrior Wisdom Wednesdays. Sorry, I'm getting my words all confused. Warrior Wisdom Wednesday. And as always, I thank you so much for tuning in. And I can't wait to see you all next week. So thank you so much for watching. And I will see you all next Wednesday. Make sure you register for the masterclass. All right. We'll talk soon. Bye now.